Welcome Capricorn to your in-depth weekly forecast for week commencing the 15th of April for the Ascendant, the Sun or the Moon. On the screen now is the event chart at the start of the week. The first thing I'd like to draw your attention to is the moon. It's in the part of your situation to do with relating. The moon in the 7th house can lead to harmonious interactions, but later on Monday it does square up to the sun. That's a quarter moon, providing a backdrop for the rest of the week. And the sun's in the part of your situation to do with how you feel about things. So it's possible that you could encounter someone this week who's not quite as good as tuning into you as you are as listening to them. And that could create a little bit of tension. Or then again, maybe there's two people you get on well with who see things very differently and you find yourself caught in the middle trying to play the proverbial peacekeeper. But of course, last week, your ruling planet Saturn did apply a lot of pressure to Mars. In your 3rd house, if you suffered with migraines last week or headaches, neuralgia, tension in your body or felt depleted in your vitality, it wouldn't be a complete surprise. Of course, a lot of people would have seen that as being the total solar eclipse, but that actually had a real opportunity because of the role of Chiron. An opportunity to welcome in new emotional insights or to share your skills and knowledge in this regard. And that part of your chart is still very active this week, not least with Mercury in its retrograde. There may be a discussion that goes on with someone you are close to, like a family member, perhaps around about Friday when Venus and Mercury come into an exact conjunction. And if there has been something that's been going around your mind, bugging you perhaps a little bit, maybe even an injustice, be assured by the end of this week you're going to be feeling much more energized and much more able to stand up your side of things. This is because Mars escapes the clutches of Saturn as the week goes on and ends up in an amazing link by Friday with Jupiter. This is one of astrology's most energized combinations. Mars can, of course, be quite an impulsive influence, but the 3rd house is going to see that vitality come up. And Jupiter in the 5th house is about expressing yourself. So whereas you may have felt a little bit tongue-tied last week or not in the mood to engage with others as much as ordinarily would be the case, by the end of this week there is brighter energy coming. And that's going to be augmented, not least, by the arrival of the sun in your 5th house. This is a really important moment of the whole year for you because the 5th house, Taurus, not only shares your earth triplicity, the 5th house is the sun. It's very Leonian, so yes, it's an earthy host. This is where you emerge from the deep, rather reflective energies of the 4th house into the sunshine of the 5th house, which is very much about showcasing your talents. It's very charismatic, and we have that coming beautiful link between Jupiter and Uranus, the first in 14 years. But the sun moving here, really significant, give you a lift. But it does square up to Pluto. Pluto, of course, moved out of your sign on the 21st of January, so you're still getting used to what Pluto's about for you. Essentially, he's asking you to think about the foundations in your life, but also about your values, and perhaps also about money. There may also be some transformations going on in terms of what you're eating. Perhaps you felt a greater need to get a bit more earthy in your choice of foods and nutrients. But these two square up. And the 5th house can also be an area where we speculate. So it can be to do with having a flutter. We'll show a little bit more self-assurance if there's something we're drawn to, whether it's a person or a project. And that can give us that extra gusto to live in the moment. So I feel the square with Pluto is essentially saying, you are a sign that's very much rooted in sensibility, pragmatism, checking things out, being very earthy in your approach, going through things in a very systematic way. The sun and Jupiter and Uranus are pushing you to be a bit more frivolous over the next 4 weeks, and that could be a good thing to do. It could see you socialise and interact more, but it's also saying in its square to Pluto, you need to stay in touch with what makes you feel safe. And that's absolutely fine. So, as the week ends, Mars has moved away from Saturn. It's connecting with Jupiter in a very energized way. The sun's bringing more sunshine literally into your situation. You just need to be a little bit cautious of not being too generous or too open with your resources as the week draws to a close. But there could be a conversation you have with Venus applying to Mercury, which just lifts a little bit of pressure and gives you extra peace of mind. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Capricorn. I hope you have a great week. We have done some research and found that 55% of people who view my channel are not subscribers. If you are one of them, please help support my channel and click or tap on the bell notification symbol and subscribe, and every time I drop a video you should get an alert. Thank you.